Hi guys, and welcome back to Sheddy's Kitchen. I'm Sheddy. Today we're looking at making chapatis, also known as roti, that is R-O-T-I. If you don't know what a chapati is, it's a staple diet for many people out there, and you can always have it alongside all the curries that you eat. Actually, it's eaten as the actual thing that makes up part of the curry when you have that. Who is better to actually teach me how to make these than my very own mother? Now, I'm not going to be using a rolling pin today, but there's a rolling pin. She refuses to change it. This has probably made more than 250,000 chapatis in my lifetime, probably before then as well, because I'm pretty sure she's had this before I was born. The second thing you're going to definitely need is going to be a hot plate, and there's a hot plate there. That is called a tawa, and you'll need one of them as well, and you can get them from a lot of the South Asian shops if you need to get that. So are you ready? Let's get cooking. For this recipe, you're going to need 300 grams of medium chapati flour. Now, this is a wholemeal flour. We've directly got ours from Tesco. It's quite straightforward to get hold of, but make sure when you do use it that you are picking up medium chapati flour. You're also going to need 200 mils of water. Okay, so it's time to make the dough mixture now. So what you're going to require is the flour that we had at the start. And now to start adding this water, and make sure you don't want to put the whole water in one go. We're going to put a bit at a time. We'll gradually add that in, and we'll keep mixing and we'll keep kneading the dough. I've also just to show you, I've kept a bowl of water on the side as well. I've got a bowl of water there. That is not to add to the mixture, that's just to add to my hands, because the dough will get relatively sticky, and to prevent the sticking I'll keep dipping my hand into the water there and adding it to my hands to prevent that sticking. So let's add a tiny bit of this water. Begin mixing that. Make sure you get all the dry ingredient around and in. Add the rest of that water. Make sure you knead that properly though. Get kneading in, get stuck in and knead it down. You really want to soften that dough mixture. Get more water around. what we're doing is, now that we've kneaded that mixture, we're going to leave that for approximately 10 minutes or so on the side. We will need to knead it again in about 10 minutes time. We'll just to soften that prior to making the chapatis. So we've let our mixture settle for about 10 minutes. You can see it's actually hardened up again, and what we need to do now is we are going to re-knead this just to soften that back up again. So you'll need to add a tiny bit of water to your hands, and we'll give that a quick re-knead. So I'll pop that into there, pull it over gently and re-knead it, soften that dough mixture back up again. And make sure you just keep adding a bit of water to your hand so that it actually doesn't stick when you lift it out. You see, there you go. That again. There you go, it's nice and soft now. And now that we've re-kneaded this, you need to leave it for 5 more minutes prior to making your actual dough balls. So we'll leave that for 5 minutes from now. So we've got some extra flour over here that we'll need for actually getting the dough into dough balls. And I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. It can be slightly tricky, but don't be fearful. Make sure you're using plenty of dough. So what I would do is have a surface. There's 2 ways you can actually do this. I'm using a surface that doesn't turn. I think that's quite useful in terms of making this. You have a tendency, some people put maybe a sheet of card down, and it's normally the inside of the chapati flour bag that they use, but that has a tendency to move a fair bit. You don't want that happening when you're making the chapatis. Or if you're comfortable doing it directly on the countertop, you can do that. That's not a problem either. But I'm just using this as a base. So make sure you put plenty of flour onto that base like that, and you want to get some of your dough mixture, and I'll just show you that in a moment. You want approximately about that much in your hand, and it's quite important here to get quite a lot of dough onto the bottom. So what we do over here with this dough ball is we just pat it onto the plate over there, so you see the dough is underneath now, and now we need to start rolling this dough over. So let's start rolling this dough over. So it's covered, there you go, and just keep doing that. It's not sticking, which is good. Roll it out, and there you have. I've got the dough ball now ready. And it's time to actually roll that out now. So what you want to do over here is just make sure you've got, like I said, you've got plenty of the flour on there to prevent it sticking. Easy way to do this, 2 ways to do it, but the easiest way to do it, I would say, is to put it directly onto the surface and just press it down. Use your fingers to press it down like that. So really get it flattened, and arguably this is going to be the trickiest part of this whole process. It all depends on your skill in terms of rolling and it's not necessarily to get the chapati the right shape, because it's quite common that the shape it tends to lose its circle shape when you do this, but with practice you'll just get better at it. The most important thing is to make sure that the actual rolling, the chapati, is very, very thin, because the last thing you want to happen is when you actually put this onto a hot plate to make, you don't want areas that are thicker, because on thicker areas it doesn't cook as well and it doesn't actually taste nice. So let's get going with the rolling. We'll start rolling this. I'm just going to roll it, and I'm going to just turn it every so often. Turn it 90 degrees so that then you're working on the smaller width side, and just keep doing that. There you go. Just keep flicking it. Slightly thicker on one side there, I can feel it thicker on there. Make sure you get them edges if you feel it is thicker on that side. So just keep rolling that as you do, and make sure that you keep flicking the chapati over as you do that. And anywhere you've got the thick areas, like I've suggested, make sure that you are thinning that side out. And there you go. So now it's time to actually start making our chapati. We've got a hot plate here. This hot plate is known as a tawa. You'll get them in most Asian shops, South Asian shops. If you go in and say, can I have a tawa, it is just a standard hot plate really. And you need to make sure that it is very, very hot before you actually go into making this. So here we've got our chapati ready, which we've rolled out. And what you want to do with this, just to get rid of some of the actual flour, dry flour that's on there, you can give it a little bit of a shake like that prior to putting it on, and you put it straight on. Leave it there for a bit. Let the bottom side bake away. Careful not to touch the hot plate with your hands because it can get relatively hot if you're not used to dealing with really hot objects. It can burn you, but just quickly turn that. You can see it's starting to bake away quite nicely there. You can see you're starting to get brown dots everywhere. That's a good indicator there. You don't want to get too burnt. It'll start lifting because you'll get separation with the air. Obviously steam passing through this, you'll see that it'll start to bubble up. You want that to happen. And now at this point, I'm just going to move this back. And there's two ways you can do this next process. You can either reuse this over here. I'll just show you that over there. You can pop it on there. And you want to get the areas where it's relatively raw still on the fire itself. If you haven't got one of these, you need to be very careful. You can actually do it like this. You can actually pop it straight onto the gas and flip it around like that, but I wouldn't advise that because it's actually quite difficult to do that. So we'll just gently give that heat. Turn it. See, it's slightly raw over here, so make sure you're getting that bit over there. Let's just turn it, and we know which bit is raw. The raw end was that bit over there, so we'll do that on that side. That's looking really good. One last time. And there you go. That should be done. There you go. I'd actually put that straight into maybe just some softer material to let it actually soften, because if you leave it out it might get a bit hard. We tend to put them into something, we wrap it into a material that we normally have. We call it a dudgy. It's just like a tea cloth. You put them into there, the steam will hopefully go through the chapati. Then as you build up the chapati, they make a few of them, it really softens them. It's dead nice to eat. So the all important bit now, I need to get the seal of approval from my parents. Wish me luck. So, seal of approval met. For many more up-to-date recipes, please make sure that you click on that YouTube link, click on subscribe and select notifications, and that will keep you up to date with any of the recipes that we do. Thank you. See you soon.